wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quench the thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic, you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop coming.
Well, welcome everybody. Appreciate that you guys are watching this video. And if you are watching this video, it means that you want to improve your inking. This is going to be how to improve your inking, but it's a digital inks. Now, digital tools are advancing. They're becoming so much more user-friendly. They're becoming have much more of a traditional feel. They can give you more of a traditional look now more than ever. And so now is the time, if you want to get into inking, you're not quite sure how to ink, and you're having difficulty mastering the quill, or mastering the crow quill, or a Kolinsky sable, or if you want to use tech pens, whatever tool that you're trying to use, and if it's taking you time to learn and master that tool, you really might want to consider digital. The reason for that is that digital tools will do the work for you. But with all transparency and all honesty, you still have to learn inking techniques. But I'm going to show you guys how you can quickly improve your inking. I'm going to give you a live demo. It won't be that long of a demo. I've got to get work done. So I'm going to show you guys a set of brushes that I've created that are specifically designed for inking Western comic books. For the American art style in comic books, we really put a lot of value in the line weight and in the line work. We like a nice, clean, pretty line, and you find that in most Western comic books. So I've designed a brush set that is designed to have everything in it that you will need, and it's very simple. The brush set you can get, it's a 10 brush set. It's there aren't any brushes in there that just for the sake of filler. Every brush in this set is absolutely functional. They do an amazing job. There's also a free version of some of the brushes. You can get the free Kolinsky sable along with some line art. You can get some templates, and you get a couple of things in there to kind of get you started and give you an idea of what I'm working on. And look how wonderful. 96% 5-star rating, in here. Everyone's saying always great stuff, even anonymously. You could have anonymously, it could have been trolling, or could have said anything, but everybody's complimenting the brushes, and they are because of you guys rated the #1 digital inking kit on Gumroad. It's doing fantastic, and I really do appreciate it. So if you decide that you want to invest and get the complete digital inking kit, the complete kit itself is what it is. It's settings you plug in a Clip Studio Paint. It's videos that you can stream and watch online as you want. You can pause them, watch them later. You can stream them to any device. It makes it very convenient, and they're easy to follow along. I show you how to customize your brushes, how to customize my brushes to adjust the settings to your style. I also show you how to set up your how I set up my Clip Studio Paint, how I set up my Wacom Cintiq, so that if you like, you can put your physical hardware and equipment to the exact same settings that I have, so that you're using the same brushes, the same settings, and theoretically, you should be able to ink much more in the style of the way that I'm inking and make it easier to follow along. So there's all that. Well, let's get past that. I just want to let you guys know that that's there. And the link's in the description of this video if you guys decide you want to go there. As I said, there are some free gifts. You can go there and just get some free wallpaper and a free brush. Free is good, right? It's a great thing, especially right now in the current economy. Free is great. But the digital inking kit, I do realize, $25 seems, kind of high, but it's an investment in your future. It's an investment in you. So you got to ask yourself, are you worth that $25? Is this something that you really want to learn to do? If so, especially if it's something you want to do professionally, then is the $25, is that something that, you're willing to invest in, invest in yourself. So here we go. What I have here is inside Clip Studio Paint. Now, I like to ink just a couple of technical settings. If you guys are curious and you want to know what my settings are, how I set up my pages, what are my measurements. If you look at the very top of the screen, you'll see that my page is 6.88 by 10.5, and that's in inches, and that is exactly the size of a comic page before it is trimmed, the exact size that it will print out. I work in 600 DPI. I work in twice the resolution that it will be printed in so that I can enlarge the image and add more detail to it. Then when I output, I shrink it down, and that increases the amount of line work and detail. So it makes it look crisp and clean. And then I send it off to the printer and it gets printed. Now, the question you might be asking yourself right now, if you were wondering, you're not into digital inks yet, and you're wondering, well, Jimmy, if I go digital, I lose an original piece of art. And that's absolutely true. You will. Either you don't have an original piece of art, and some artists they want to have the original so they can augment their income. Not every page that an artist draws finds a buyer. So many of us as artists, you get stuck with thousands of pages. Generally, people want to buy covers or splash pages or a page where a major event happens with a very popular character. So that's something to consider yourself. But the benefits to digital, really, to be honest, is that you can help improve your inking. It'll save you about 30 years time. It took me about 30 years to where I got to the point where I felt that I mastered the quill and the brush. For the longest time, I was at the mercy of the brush and the quill. It was manipulating me. I now can manipulate the quill and brush. I've gotten to the point now where I feel so comfortable with it. I can ink, I get the line work down that I'm looking to achieve. With traditional, with digital, the brushes are already programmed and designed to always give you quality line work. So all you have to do is just learn inking techniques, learn to train your eye for line work, depth, clarity, textures, and that, is not that difficult to do. You will learn that over time. It will come to you. What does happen. The other benefit is with digital, and if you're a small publisher or you're publishing your own book, with digital, you don't have to ship anything. You can just transfer everything via a file transfer or FTP or email, and it's so much more cost effective. It's faster. It saves time. Plus, digital prints beautifully. Your ink work will be amazing. Especially if you're trying to look and you're trying to achieve a very clean line art, you will achieve that so quickly, so fast. You can still add textures and grittiness. You still have that in digital. Digital is advancing every day. So those are the reasons, that I think, some of the pros and cons of going digital. It's totally up to you as the artist, what you want to do. Don't let others shame you. I do love traditional. I was inking traditional for a very long time, about 30 years. And I love it. I still love it. I still do it. But I do digital as well because there are so many benefits. So don't let somebody make the decision for you. You are the artist. If you decide you want to go digital, it's perfectly fine because that's the right thing for you. If you want to stay traditional, that's the decision that's right for you. No other artist or anyone else can make that decision for you. So here we go. So this is the size that I work in. 10.5 is the height. 6.88 is the width, and it does get trimmed down to about 6.3, so a little more over than 6.5, inches, and so it gets cut to the exact size. My page has, you can see the borders. where I show my trim mark on the sides. So I know where my areas are to work in. So I don't want to spend any time inking things that are outside that area. So you want to be mindful of the area that you're working in. And in digital, you can get the image, even if you're a novice and you want to practice and build a portfolio, you can just grab images off the internet with digital, because then you can even grab some lower res images. You don't have to be really high res because you're not going to print them, and yet you can still see them very clearly, especially inside Clip Studio Paint. So what I do is I take my pencil art over the right, just right above my head, right over here where that sword is. You see that sword in my background? I want to point my finger like right up over there. There's a little button there. It's a little blue button. I click that, non-photo blue right there. And even though when I am, say I'm inking, right? Let's just say those quick, fast line work. Even though when I output, I get rid of the blue, it's just my line art. So even though I still don't print or copy directly over the pencils, I don't have to scan the artwork in and then try to remove the blue line. I simply just remove the layer and the blue line's gone. The reason that I still put the line art into the reason I still convert it into non-photo blue is so that it helps my eye, so that when I am laying down new clean line work, I want to be able to distinguish between the two. I want to be able to see the line that I'm laying down, which will be the final printed line, versus the pencils underneath. So I have a 10 brush set. As I said, you'll see me go through and use different brushes through there. And so the brush is going to do a lot of the work for me, because the brush, no matter how I throw my line, I can even close my eye and throw the line, and it's still a clean, smooth line, however I want to do it. I cover one eye. Whoa, look at that. It's still clean line work, it's the pen. The pen is programmed and designed to do all this for you, to give you really nice, clean lines. So I recommend playing with the pen, figuring out exactly what the pins can and can't do for you, and then if you have a line that you put in there and you go, oh, I didn't like that line, well, undo. You get a safety net with it. It's totally up to you. What kind of line that you're looking for. So I use the brush. Then I use this tool called the lasso fill tool. So all I do is spot my black by simply shaping with the lasso, put the shape of the area that I want to fill in with black. That's spotting black. Then I'm going to create a gradation and transition out of it. I can see Andy Kubert right here. He kind of went with his pencil like this and kind of lightened up right there. And I thought, well, that's interesting. It adds texture. It adds a different value to the artwork, where you can kind of almost create a gradation out of that black, where the muscle kind of moves. And so the light changes, as with the shape of the object. So you want to kind of be mindful of those things. But create like a little quick gradation there that I think, would make Andy's work look pretty cool. And going to put these little bleeds that come out of here. And then I'm just going to kind of connect some of my bleeds just to help the feathering a little bit. And there, real quickly, is fast, beautiful lines real quick. It's fast. You don't have to fight the pins. I'm going to add just a little more white right here. I'm going to cut into it. And to help the transition of the fade, so that it appears to fade from solid black into more of a gray tone, adding more value to the artwork. And then that's pretty much, how we can do this. Let's see. I can see his line here. Add a little bit, and I just look at it and go, well, no, I didn't like it. And it's digital. So you just change it. And then you can sculpt the lines with the quill. You can make really cool sculpture lines, where you can shape them. And let me add a quick, these are called holding lines, where back in the day, you would want to outline the artwork because then that kind of creates like a fence. And then when you go in with a brush and fill in, your India ink, you have this holding line that keeps it from leaking into other areas, from flowing into different areas. So I'm going to do the same thing, get my lasso fill tool, making sure that I have the color black put on there. And I'm going to spot it right here with black ink. And now you can spot ink fast, quick, save yourself a lot of time on here by simply using that tool. And it really does speed things up, So I'm playing with different little bleeds, different little textures. Totally up to you and how you want to, what kind of bleeds you want to do. In this case, I did the real pointy bleed, and on this one, I'm doing more of like a tick line, and where it looks more like a little tick. It's totally up to you on what you want to do, but I'm going to play with the line a little bit, and I'm going to add another little shape at the end. Just to give it fun, fancy little shapes and textures. You don't have to do all that if you don't want to, but if you do, you really want to stay consistent with it, where you could do, those little bleeds there that I see a lot on Andy's work, where there's this type of little bleed. And honestly, I think it looks old-fashioned that way to me. But there is sort of a classic quality to Andy's work. So I thought I'd give those lines a try, do something like that. And if you guys have questions, I will get to the chat, and I'll go over some of your questions. As I mentioned, I'm going to do this pretty quick to show you guys how we can improve some inking real quick. And then I've got quite a bit of work to catch up on. So I can't stay streaming too long, but I will try to answer any questions you guys have about inking. If you guys have any questions, So then the other thing is that flash right here is the primary focus. We want him forward. We want everything in the background pushed back. That can be achieved as well with the colors. Colorists can do knockouts. They can add blurs. They can do, like a holding line knockout kind of thing. Different colors. You can add warm colors in the back and cool colors in the front, or vice versa. A lot of things colors can do to help aid that. But we want the work to still stand out in black and white. We still want it to do as much as we can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to add thicker lines to Andy's work right here. And give him, I'm going to ink through that lightning bolt, even though I'm going to erase that in a little bit, but I want to keep the flow and the momentum, so I just will ink through that. So here is a little bit of angular lines. Andy's work has a slight angular look to it. So I want to kind of keep an eye on that. And how you improve your eye for inking is you really pay attention to the pencils. You study them for a little while before you hop on them, before you start inking away. And as you start to develop that eye more and more, you will find that you have to spend less time staring at the artwork. You kind of already get a game plan in your head as soon as you see the art. You already start to, your mind starts working already on that, how you're going to attack that page. You already have in matter of seconds created an offense. So I'm just going to erase through that right there. I just wanted to keep that line flow. And you can do all kinds of cool things. Like he's got this lightning right here, this lightning bolt. I want to kind of play with some of the textures to it. A little bit of a Kirby crackle kind of coming off of that lightning bolt. Real angular, quick lines that I'm throwing down. A couple of more Kirby crackle kind of thing just coming off. Little zigzags here and there. Trying to think of the way that lightning just kind of works and the way that lightning crackles and sparkles. And, you try to get creative and imagine this stuff in your head, because you are the secondary artist on this book. You're not just tracing the artwork. You're the finisher. You need to come in and add, and that's how you can improve. For one, the digital tools will make it to where you don't have to fight the tool. It's beautiful line work. So it's as if you already saved 30 years. You're just a master of the tools already, but you still have to improve and develop your eye for line art and for the line work. The type of lines that you're going to put down. You still have to be an artist, but it will save you so much time. So I'd highly recommend considering digital. So a couple little zigzags in here. Just having some fun with the line art. Putting more little Kirby crackle type things in here. There are different things that you can use. Let's see. I don't see an area where I can use the brush that I was referring to. Let's see. Maybe I'll just use it in this area. So Batman has a transition right here where he's trying to fade. You can see where Andy is, he's laid down a suggestion right here where it looks more like he wants something more of a, it's got a bit of a cross hatching going right here. So honestly, I would handle it with the cross hatching, but I have another brush that I can show you guys that, so if you do this with the cross hatching, you can create that gradation right there that Andy has suggested on there. And then we can even do stuff with it to add more texture. We can add more little specks of white in there to kind of break it up and create a secondary texture in it. But here's another brush that if you don't want to go for that look, in the digital inking kit, in the brush set, we do have this brush here called the dry brush. And a dry brush is when you take the ink is already kind of fading off your brush, and you want to just kind of scrape away. Oops, hold on. I made my brush so big there we go. And we could just kind of play with this a little bit. To play with a nice little texture there for Andy's work. Darken up a little bit right here as we go. So now we have this cool little fade in here. We can go even further with it. We can take the scratch blade that I've got in my digital inking kit and add even more. Let's go a little softer with it. Add even more scratches and scrapes into it. So we've got a couple, and then we can change the angle on them a little bit. Kind of like that. And you can go in and create more style of textures. You can add more gritty stuff to it. We can even still do that last effect of where we just kind of splatter some cool little white splatter and effects in there. That splatter effect, they're called droplets. It's what airbrush artists use when they take a little credit card and they put it on the end of the spray can and they flick little droplets. And that's a standard tool in Clip Studio Paint. That's not something that I created. But so you got cool, clean line work up here that you can achieve. And all of what I've been doing is one brush giving me all this fancy line work and style. And you can get through it very quickly. Then, if you do want to go more dry brush, you switch the brush over to the dry brush and you can get, really nice clean lines, but it's a matter of taste. It's whatever style that you are trying to achieve, So let me just kind of touch up a little bit of Batman. You guys can kind of see that there's a Batman back here. And right here, Andy's got Batman's eye. I want to be able to separate that eye just a little bit. And let's put a little white gap in here. It's got another Batman's eye right there. And then this is a cool thing right here where we'll take the lasso tool, quickly spot the black real fast. And this is, really quick, fast. Saves you a lot of time. You'll save time on shipping. You will save you time in meeting deadlines. You can get the work done faster, especially with page rates being a little lower right now and having to do more pages to kind of keep up, keep that pay rate up there. And so we can cut back into the black right there. So if you're faster that you are, the more pages you can do, the more money you can make. And so there's Batman's little face right there. And we can quickly real quick just kind of start getting Batman going there. But I want to put a little gap of white right there. Make sure I got the right shape. Let me just undo that. Cool little gaps of white in here for the cape. We can do all kinds of little zigzags and stuff with the pen. Breaking that line right there because there's some light and it washes out the you get a little highlight on it. We can do a little bit of a vignette right here where it just kind of fades off into, let me do that again. I can add, if I really wanted to make it look traditional, I would go back to that scratch blade that I've got and just kind of scrape in a little bit of a kind of wash texture right here. So it looks like my brush kind of started to fade as as I got towards the end of that line area right there. And just kind of blend it. Here's some more Batman. So real quick, fast, it doesn't take as long to do. You just take a little while to kind of get used to some of the tools working digitally. It might there's a bit of a learning curve if you have never worked in Clip Studio Paint, but you overcome that. You pick that up. The more that you work in Clip Studio, the easier it'll become, and you'll find that you are quickly the master inker. And here are those close-up of those lines that we just did up close. Look how quick, easy that line work looks in it. It's just beautiful, fancy little lines. I can blend these lines in just a little more, add a little bit of a dot right there. And a little bit of redo those dots. And it helps create the transition. It looks like I did more line work, and really I just went back in and cut out some lines. And that's pretty much it. If you guys want to consider digital, the reason so is that all these type of brushes will really help you out quite a bit. There's an angular brush that I've got as well in the kit, so you could do these type of. Let's say I want to do this right here out of his forehead. I want to angle some of these lines right here. All right, let's see. I got some of these lines, and you're like maybe thinking right now, like, what in the world are you doing? Let's rotate. Let's come back and connect these lines real quick. Like this. And then we're going to spot all that black right there on the flash on his forehead. And we're just going to cut back in real quick. Like that. And now we've got this really cool, fancy little lines that can help add all this cool little fade. And if you want to add just a little more length on some of the lines, you can. You just get creative on how you want your line work, and the art will tell you basically what type of line work it needs, that it's asking for. The art will tell you what type of line that the art requires. So you can see a different style of line over here on this side. These are bleeds. But that angular chiseled edge, if you want, you can just always keep that angular chiseled edge if you want. It's totally up to you. You can always, with digital, you can always kind of cut back into the line work, and achieve all these different type of cool style and lines that really, you can change them up if you want. You can always just say, oh, I want to do this or that with my line work, totally up to you and how you want to achieve it. If you are worried about putting in curves, we have French curves that are digital, like these digital type of guides that you can follow along like this to give you a nice, cool, get the dome of his head, with that. And all that was done, in a matter of less than a minute, trying to achieve and get all that, if you want, you can create that. Like I said, you can add more lines like this to create a gradation. Further with it, a secondary set of lines just to kind of create another little value. Value is very important. It helps with the transition between the shapes within your artwork. But there it is. Reason why you should go digital and how you can quickly improve your inking skill simply by using these tools. The tools are very, very simple. They're very friendly, user-friendly. Every tool in the digital inking kit does something specifically. It's there for a purpose, and you can just play with each tool and become more and more comfortable with it so that you learn all the different things that you can achieve. One brush can give you a fat line or a very thin line, and you can get anything in between. So it's one brush, and you don't have to re-dip for ink. You just go, you get it done, and your work will print beautifully, and you can still achieve textures, Kirby crackles. Look at the little textures, scrapes, textures in there. Even texture on the very, very end of Batman right there. I made it kind of messy and scratchy on the very end. But it's totally up to you, the looks that you want to achieve. And I'll say it again. It's the fastest way to improve your inking skill. So if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll go through the chat, see if you guys have any questions. And I've got to get back to work. I got a lot of stuff that I, got to get done, but want you guys to know that there are tools out there to help you, quickly improve and to give you the options to get that. Gravity Patty says, "How's Jimmy today?" Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for asking. I do appreciate that. Today's a new day, new start, and so it's bright and sunny outside, beautiful day. So, it's a chance to do something new and fresh, Ian says, "I noticed in some of the books that have digital artists that you can see the pixels in the printed books in some places. Need to be careful to avoid that with the right DPI." Yeah, so I would recommend, that may be somebody who's working in Photoshop using a pixel-based program. This is Clip Studio Paint, where Clip Studio, sure, I'm working at 600 DPI. There is still dot per inch, but it's really a hybrid. I'm not really pixel based. It's more almost like a vector. Very, very clean. The other thing too is the brush that they're using. You have to be careful on that brush, because if you have an anti-alias setting on your brush, then you're going to get a really fuzzy edge of the outside. So my brushes are set for minimal anti-aliasing. They're not completely gone, because you do want a little bit of that texture on the end of your line when you zoom in on there, but you want it very minimal. So I've designed the brushes specifically for that. And my brushes I've printed them. I use them when I do printed work. I inked David Finch with that with a digital set. I've inked Brett Booth digital. I've also did my own comic book. I've got my own book that, where I've inked, images and stuff in black and white, and they'll print very, very well. Plus, in my digital inking kit, I have auto actions that I have saved that all you simply do is is at the end of your inking. When you're done, you just simply go to the auto action, hit play. It'll run through about 8 different steps that I've done with the tonal corrections and levels and different things to help give the ink work just a little bit more of a traditional feel, but still keeping that really good clean line work, but still just helping that line look less digital. And of course, I would highly recommend using Clip Studio Paint. It was designed specifically for comic book art, where Photoshop was used for manipulating photographs. And people have found they can use that to do artwork in, but it's not specifically designed for that. So you may want to consider really be more selective of the type of program that you use to work in. Because there are sure, I mean, Procreate's a good program, but it's still not at the level of Clip Studio Paint. Clip Studio Paint is great for drawing and for inking, for line work. It's getting there on color. Photoshop's got it beat on color because Photoshop has much better color profiles, and your colors will print much more to what you see on the screen, with Photoshop than versus Clip Studio Paint. So Clip Studio Paint still, lacking a little bit in like the color red, stuff like that. When it prints, you can skew a little bit, but it's not that far behind. So I highly recommend, if you don't know Clip Studio Paint and you want to go digital, go into Clip Studio Paint now, get in it now. If now is really the time to really just start considering digital, because if you already know traditional, that's great, because then you can add to that arsenal. You can also there's some times where I can get a project and it needs to be done traditional, like when I was inking Dave Finch, I ink him traditionally most of the time. And there were some times where we were falling behind on deadline. Deadline was getting really tight and something needed to be done because he was so busy, and he would send me out like a cover and it was like, oh, it needs to be done by the end of the day. And so I knew if I went digital, I can get it done. And I just asked, can I do it digital? And they're like, get it done. Yeah, as long as we can meet that, so we can meet that deadline. I inked a cover for over Dave for Image Comics, digital, and no one knew the difference. I sent it into the editor, it got published and everything, and people that view it, buy it, see it, nobody knows, other than if you come to my channel, then you would know. So highly recommend. Scorpio says, good morning. Jimmy is the Bob Ross of CGB. Or is that what you put? Oh, wait. Jimmy is the Bob Ross of CG. Beat the devil out of those pins. Yeah, happy pin lines. Can we say that? I don't know. Wolf and Bear says, Jimmy, how do you find inking in Clip Studio compared to inking in Photoshop? I would not try inking in Photoshop, simply because it's pixel based. Photoshop's a lot more memory hungry. The way that the line art is handled in Clip Studio Paint, you can import an image. Like I grabbed this image of the Flash that was drawn by Andy Kubert. I found it online on the internet, low res image. Somehow the way Clip Studio paints, I don't know what kind of magic they're using or what kind of little elves are inside the program, but it doesn't work like Pixel. When I stretched it out, when I put the image in, I import the image. It was so tiny. I grabbed it and I stretched it out, and it looks like a high-res image still. It looks clean. I don't know how they do it. I mean, I'm not working in vector. I don't work in vector layers. I mean, I'm working in what they call a raster layer, but it doesn't act like raster. When I stretch it out, it didn't pixelate at all. I could still see all the lines, and I could still get this ink work done over Andy's work from a low res internet image. Only 64. Have you ever had wild hogs attack you in Texas? I heard the feral pigs are a real threat. We go hunting, and those suckers, when you go hunting for wild hogs, man, those suckers you gotta be careful. They can really hurt you. So you gotta be on it when you go out there. But they're hunted here in Texas. We go out and we hunt hogs mostly. We got some some venison out here, deer out here, very few like pheasants that are hunted, but it's mostly wild hog that's hunted out here. So you gotta really, really watch it. Darmic says, what is the hardest page you worked in Clip Studio Paint? The hardest page, honestly, it's so easy inking in Clip Studio Paint. I hate to say that, because being an inker, I worked so hard on my skill and my craft, but then when I brought it into Clip Studio Paint, it was just, the hardest part was learning how to use Clip Studio Paint. Once I learned how to use Clip Studio Paint, inking everything is easy. I can ink anything, and nothing is really that much of a challenge, because the line work comes out perfect every time. So I really just, it's just a matter of taking the time to go through. And then I having Clip Studio Paint, having the undo, I can experiment, and I can say, oh, I'll try this line on over Andy Kubert. And if it doesn't work, I'll undo it and I'll try a different style of line. But as far as inking goes, it removes that. It removes the difficulty. And that's why I'm saying you can quickly improve simply by starting to use digital. It's so much more easier. But you still have to learn how to, organize your line work, things like that. You just kind of, that takes a few, that could take a few years, but you still have to do that, but at least you don't have to struggle with the tool anymore, And so, and Darmix, I saw your comment on the drawing that I did with the girl with the archer with the bow and the arrow. And you were absolutely right. Darmix, you were absolutely right. When I had her arm pulled back like this, I didn't pull her breast up. Because when you bend your arm, you're pulling that muscle, and there's still a chest muscle, a pectoral muscle, that the fatty tissue of a breast is on over that. So if a woman is pulling her arm back to pull the arrow, that her breast would pull up. It would pull that muscle up. And I saw your comment, and when I was looking at my page, I went, "Oh, he's absolutely right. That was a good eye." So I'm going to adjust that on there, and I appreciate that. So that was really a really good suggestion. Craig Petty, Photoshop lags my PC when we move the image. It's not fun. Yeah, Photoshop can be memory hungry. You need a fast processor. Clip Studio Paint, thankfully, has never crashed on me. I used to have a fast computer. Now my computer's older. I have the iMac Pro. Mine came out in 2018, around there. So I have an older machine, and each time I upgrade the operating system, it starts to slow it down. The Apple's got this mysterious thing that happens with anytime you upgrade the software, suddenly your hardware is outdated. It's like, oh, time to get a new one. Got to come back and buy from us. It's like, Apple, like I just bought the iPhone 15 Pro Max last year. Now they got the iPhone 16 Pro Max out. I'm like, Apple, I'm sorry, man. I can't keep up with you guys. My 15 Pro works. I'm happy with it. I'm not upgrading. I'm not falling for that anymore. Z for Comics says, "Hey, Texas, awesome. Me too. Oh man, yeah, that's me. I'm here in Texas. Which was the Native Americans. It was Texas, which was was it the Aztec or Mayan word, and they changed it to Tex-us with an X in there. I don't know, but we do still have a lot of words that are from Aztec in Texas. So still a bit of history. But thank you guys. I appreciate you guys are here. If you guys are curious and you want to know what brush set I used, links in the description of the video. You can go over, take a look at my brush set. Also, as well, if you guys are watching right now and you have Clip Studio Paint, absolutely free for you. Go over and get your free gift. There are things that you can put in Clip Studio Paint. A free Kolinsky Sable, which I do use. I have it in my set. You get free templates to work on. You can work in the template that I just showed you today, or you can work in the 11x17 template at 300 DPI. Totally up to you, whichever your machine will your computer will handle in there, which will be easier for you. And you can go through. There's a lot of free gifts within this, and you can also get an inking sample. You can download and get a sample page that I inked. I believe it's the one, or I inked over Victor Bogdanovic. It was Action Comics. So you can see an actual page of mine where you get the clip file, where you can see how I've set up my file. You can see where I put the pencils underneath, lock that layer, put it in non-photo blue, and I put my inks above that. And you can download the clip file, and you can go through and zoom in and see my ink work in that clip file. So it'll give you a much better idea of not how it should look, but how it could look, when you're inking. And if you guys don't have Clip Studio Paint, but you're watching right now and you can go get some David Finch wallpaper art of my character Nuri and her little fennec fox Jack from the comic book Dragon Rage. There are two different wallpaper in here. There's one that's got a little more of a bluish gray. One for there's quite a bit of female fans that like Dragon Rage, they like Nuri, and so I created a pink one, but there's more of a masculine color in there. And if that's not masculine enough for you, you're like, Jimmy, I'm a man's man. Well, we'll go on over. Got one for you too. Here's one beautiful, attractive female with horns, and you got the whole team up on there. Just that's masculine right there. Dragon on there, and with a beautiful woman. Absolutely free. So go grab yourself some free stuff, guys. I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. And I'll see you guys. Art9 saw it too. He pointed that out. Pointed that at before I took a good look at the page. Oh, well, thank you guys. I really appreciate that you and Art9 had noticed that. It's nice. That's one of the great benefits that I'm missing now by working at home by myself, where I used to work in a studio and working with, different artists. They'd walk by and go, hey, can I point out something I noticed? Yeah. You have her arm pulled back but yet her breast is still hanging. Shouldn't it be pulled up? And you go, oh yeah. Like working in a studio, you give each other feedback, and that's an amazing thing. So it's one of the things I missed, but we kind of get that benefit here, live streams. So Stealth X5 says, hail. So appreciate you guys. You guys all take it easy, and, good inking to you guys, man. You guys go through and, ink away, I guess. I got to come up with a slogan, like good inks, ink away. I don't know. I got to get some tagline going. I don't know. What could it be? But I'll see you guys. Take it easy.